9:30. Before we start with the meeting with the pledge of the flag, I just want to let everybody know that Rick Bagaski will be participating in the meeting via telephone. So you'll be hearing his voice, but you won't see him. So please don't think it's a ghost of Supervisor past. But he will be participating, voting like everybody here does, and taking questions and replies and so on. So we will begin with the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Okay. Rick, you want to give a sound test on that? Just say a few words so they can hear you out there.
Sure. Hello, everybody. Merry Christmas. I hope you all have a nice holiday upcoming, and I'm happy to try at least this little bit of new technology that's been approved by PSATs in the state of Pennsylvania. We'll see how this goes. Thank you.
Okay, if it gets too loud, let me know. Please raise your hand and tell me to turn the volume down. We want to make sure everybody hears them okay. Okay. Next item agenda, public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Any comments from anybody? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next one, approval of the minutes. We have the minutes of the meeting of November the 24th. I hear a motion.
I'll move, excuse me, I'll move approval of the November 24th minutes.
Okay.
Rick, you weren't present.
Rick was not present on the 24th.
PSAT has told us also, John, just so you know, that when
that's all right.
heard about this, it also said that we could approve minutes that we weren't there for, because all we're doing is really attesting to our knowledge of the accuracy of those minutes.
Okay.
Oh, good to know.
And that's for the 24th. Let's see, we got a motion and a second. Rick, how do you vote? Yes. Brian?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes. And then we have the minutes for the December 1st, 2015 meeting. Any additions or corrections?
I'll move approval.
Okay. I hear a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Brian?
Yes.
Rick, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes. Minutes are approved. We have the bills before us for the last 2 weeks. Any questions, corrections, anything?
I'll move we pay the bills.
And
I'll second.
Okay. Rick will second that. Any discussion? None. Okay. Brian?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Okay. I vote yes too. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 6, public hearing on subdivision and land development plans. First one before us is Susan Van Cleef Real Family Limited Partnership, a subdivision plan. Anyone here to speak on behalf of this application?
Rick Morris.
Rick Morris.
At their meeting of December 1st, Planning Commission recommended approval, but they noticed that it does require a variance since Lot C frontage is less than 60 feet. Not by much, it does measure 58.51 feet. So they're a little less than 1.5 feet.
Okay, so that would be the condition on that there.
Grant a variance.
We'd have to grant a variance on that.
Okay.
Yeah, for us to look at, I know. Okay. Anybody here on behalf of the applicant? No? Okay. Brian, any questions for you?
No, I will move approval and granting the variance for the lot frontage.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay. Let's get a variance on that. Okay. Brian?
Yes.
And Rick?
Yes.
Okay. And I vote yes. Okay. Next one is Erie Commerce LLC, a land development plan. Plan to show the removal of a 30,000 square foot portion of a building and construction of a proposed loading dock with related pavement and stormwater management on the north side of West 23rd. Rick?
Planning Commission recommended approval and noted 2 requirements. One, that they label the sidewalk on the drawing And 2, that they provide sidewalks from the east property line to the west edge of the concrete parking area.
Anybody here on behalf of the applicant? Okay. Brian? Is there anybody else that wants to speak on behalf of this? No. Okay. Brian, any questions or comments?
No, I'll move approval with the requirements for the sidewalk, labeling it and providing sidewalks on the east property line to the west edge of the concrete parking area.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Brian?
Yes.
And Rick?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes. Okay. Next application is F&S Tool Company, an amended land development plan, an amendment to an existing land development plan to show a proposed 19,000 square foot warehouse addition and associated parking, and a departure from the approved plan located along the west line of Powell Avenue, north of Protein Boulevard. Mr. Morris.
Planning Commission recommended approval and noted 2 requirements. One is to show and label the buffer lines on the drawing, and the second was to add dimensions of existing and proposed building to the drawing. We've received a drawing, and both of those have been completed.
Okay, then. That's just amended. Anybody here to speak on behalf of the applicant? Anybody here to provide comment from the public? None. Okay. Call for a motion on that?
I'll move approval.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Fragaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Next item on the agenda, number 7, public hearing on a petition requesting a change in zoning classification. First one is Renaud Peck Real Estate LLC for property located at 2381 Zimmerly Road, now zone C1 local commercial, asking for a change in classification to C4 regional commercial district. Julie.
The Millcreek Township Planning Commission recommended approval. Erie County Planning stated that the proposed rezoning is generally consistent with the Erie County Comprehensive Plan, and the Millcreek Township Future Land Use Plan shows multifamily.
Okay. Okay. Anybody here on behalf of the applicant?
Good evening, good morning. Mike Sanford, Sanford Surveying and Engineering, 4721 Atlantic Avenue. Here on behalf of the applicant, who's out of town, and ask him to come and study. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have. He did make his presentation to the Planning Commission. And should he have any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Okay. Brian, do you have any questions regarding this?
Julie, you said that the comp plan says multifamily,
Correct.
even along Interchange Road, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But the adjacent property is commercial. Well, I shouldn't say, across Niagara Drive or Niagara Village
That
Drive.
shows commercial to the west.
To the west, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's going west, the parcels are C4, then the car wash is C3, even further west.
Okay.
Okay.
Across the street is the Humane Society?
Hey, John, you guys still there?
Yes, we're still here. Can you hear us okay?
Okay, want to jack up the volume a little bit?
Okay.
The Humane Society, I believe, is commercial.
Can you hear that?
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
And then immediately to the east is, well, it's wetlands or floodplain.
Yeah.
It's Walnut Creek, the undeveloped portion, and then I-79.
I-79.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is probably one of the most busy corridors in your township, and certainly we feel that it supports commercial. That's why we're here today making a request. PennDOT's in the process of doing their improvements to improve traffic
Right.
flow through the area as well. We think it's a logical extension
Right. Okay.
of C4 directly.
We'll see, right. Yeah, I think what PennDOT, the plan is a 4-lane road there, isn't it? And traffic signal is.
I don't know, is that 4-lane or 5-lane? Okay, with it, then it's going to have a turn lane in the center turn lane. Okay,
Okay.
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 That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Vigaski, any comments or questions from yourself?
No, I'm just looking at the plan here, and no questions.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any questions. Any comments from the public in regarding this rezoning application? Yes. Please come up and state your name for the record.
Art Gilner, 6026 Moraine Drive in Millcreek. My biggest concern isn't so much the C4 development as the traffic. Naturally, we're going to have an extra lane eastbound and westbound. But the way the traffic is regulated is critical. With this light, the traffic light across from the Humane Society at, I believe it's Village Common Drive, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So you add another 10 seconds or 20 seconds to the light to get off of, Village Common Drive onto Interchange Road. That's 10 seconds, 20 seconds that you back up this traffic on Interchange and Simmerly Road. Granted, it's going to be an extra 2 lanes, but the volume of traffic there during rush hour, the commuters, it's bad.
Art, I think the biggest need and the biggest problem that PennDOT is going to address with the improvements to Interchange Road will be the, I shouldn't say widening, additional lane on the bridge itself.
A turning lane, correct.
Turning lane, correct. And then they're replacing the bridge over Walnut Creek, correct?
That's going to be,
Okay.
right.
So that, now you will have more, the ability to handle more traffic.
Right, yes, you'll be able to handle more traffic. I understand that.
And we hope that as part of this project, and I think that PennDOT has already addressed this in our conversations, that you will see a coordinated traffic signal system from Peach Street all the way through to Zook Road.
From Peach to Zook Road?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, now the improvement though is only from Edinburgh Road at like Red Lobster over to Country Fair, correct?
Correct, yeah. Well, they don't go all the way to Red Lobster, it's only the 79.
No, the improvement is from Peach Street west
You're going to widen
to
it
Zook.
from Peach?
I don't think there's any widening going
No,
on.
I don't think there's any widening in that area, but there's drainage improvements
right,
and
yeah.
other improvements at Peach Street.
Right.
All right, that's
Well,
all.
let's just keep in mind, Art, that this is a rezoning request. It's not a land development request. Those issues that you bring up, and are valid too, they're very valid, they'll be addressed when a land development is presented to us.
All right.
So,
Very good.
thank you. Thank you, sir. Anyone else to speak on this? Okay. Okay, I'll call for a motion on that.
I'll move approval.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Our next rezoning application is James and Marlene Clark for property at 5440 Henderson Road, now zoned I-1 Light Industrial, asking for a change in classification to R1 Single Family Residential District. Ms. Maggio.
Millcreek Township Planning Commission recommended approval. Erie County Planning stated that the proposed rezoning is generally consistent with the Erie County Comprehensive Plan, and the Millcreek Township Future Land Use Plan shows single family.
Okay. Okay. Anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant? Would you come up to the podium? And if you would sign the register there and let us know your name and your address there on the sheet.
James Clark, 5440 Henderson Road. I own the property, 5432 Henderson Road. And I just wanted to change the light industry to residential.
Okay.
My daughter wants to build a house on there someday.
Okay.
Just so I understand, Julie, the property line that I see on there, the original property line has been removed, correct? So there's been a change in the actual size of that lot?
They went through a subdivision recently, correct? Yes.
So there was a subdivision?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
So you're just looking for a little more residentially zoned property to build a house?
Well, my dad had a house there and he died. So my daughter wants to build a house.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this is the property right up adjacent to the railroad tracks?
No.
No, it's not? Okay. It would just happen to be zoned industrial for,
Yeah, it's been that way for
Okay.
as long as I've been here
okay. Okay.
and before.
Okay. Okay then. Any questions from yourself?
Nope, that's it.
Rick Vigaski, do you have any questions?
No, nothing.
Okay. I forgot to ask any public comment on behalf of this application. Okay. Or an opposition. Okay. Okay, that's all we have there, sir. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Call for a motion on that.
I'll move approval.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Vigaski
Yes.
and Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, our next application is Voices for Independence for property located at 1432 Wilkins Road, also known as Vernondale Elementary School, now zoned R1 Single Family, asking for a change in classification for the eastern portion of the property, consisting of lots 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and then 41, 42, 43, and 44 of the Vernondale subdivision, requesting to change to C1 Local Commercial District. Ms. Maggio.
Millcreek Township Planning Commission recommended denial. Erie County Planning stated that the proposed rezoning is generally consistent with the Erie County Comprehensive Plan, and the Millcreek Township Future Land Use Plan shows public/semi-public.
Okay. Okay, anyone here to speak on behalf of Voices for Independence? Yes. Would you like a microphone brought to that level there? Okay.
Good morning. My name is Shauna Aiken. I'm the Executive Director of Voices for Independence. I'm here today because the truth of the matter is Voices for Independence is looking for a larger building.
Okay.
We currently rent a building on 1107 Payne Avenue. Our lease will expire in 10 months.
Okay.
We currently occupy 21,000 square feet. We need a large, all-on-one level building because predominantly half of my staff, over half of my staff, are wheelchair users. So 2 stories just doesn't work. If you look at the market, there are not buildings in this area that meet our needs. When Vernondale came on the market, it's been on the market about 3 years, and to my knowledge, hasn't really had any interested buyers. This building meets our needs. We are prepared to invest money in this building. We've offered the asking price of almost $1 million. We're prepared to do over $2 million in renovations to make the building both nice for the community and to suit our needs as an organization that serves people with disabilities. The problem here is I can't respond to rumor, and I can't fight against it either. I've heard that there's the reasons that we were denied are many, but I heard that one of the biggest reasons we were denied is because people are concerned that over many things. One concern I heard was that the township is still angry at Voices for filing an Americans with Disabilities Act lawsuit dealing with curb cuts. First of all, let me say that I'm sorry that 80% of PennDOT streets intersect with Millcreek streets. So in order to get PennDOT to do the right thing, years ago Voices had to involve Millcreek so that people with disabilities could function in this community, and we would be negligent against our mission had we not done that. Secondly, the second rumor that I hear is that a township supervisor wrote a letter to neighbors in the community, I can't substantiate this, asking them to oppose our occupying the building. I don't have proof, but it's what's being told to me. I don't understand why that would happen, because Voices has been a good neighbor where we are. We've done nothing but support and encourage the growth of that community, and we would do the same here. Voices for Independence is an organization that serves your community. We give back to the community, and we intend to do that going forward. The third thing that I've encountered through this request to purchase this building is there are people that still today believe that they don't want people like me on their streets. People have looked me in the face and said, we don't want those wheelchair people walking on our streets. And I'm really sorry to hear that in 2015, almost 16. I can't fight that kind of prejudice. I can't fight that kind of misinformation. You have to understand that if we don't get this building, we will not be able to grow as an organization. We will not be able to contribute to the community in a way that I hope for Voices for Independence to be able to do. I understand the residents' concern about turning this from a residential facility to a commercial one. We asked originally for a zoning variance because we knew that there would be concern about what if Voices left. And we had our check ready, we took the paperwork down there, and it was denied on the premise that this is more than a zoning variance. I understand that. I also understand that the residents and you want to protect your community from what you think may move in after us. I don't know when after us is going to be, because I intend on purchasing this building, making it ours, and using it for years to come. That's why we wanted the additional 11,000 square feet, so we would grow into the building. So I don't plan on selling it. And even if I did, I would be willing to sit with you all and agree to contingencies that might be put in place so that the residents and you all are protected from your fears. Please help us move forward on this. I have 10 months to renovate a building to make it work for me and for my community. I've hired building systems to do that work. We're prepared to move forward, but it's going to take months for that to happen.
Okay.
We need this building in order to function as an organization. The consumers we serve are your neighbors. You know, I've had people look at me in the face and say, why don't you keep a Medicaid service provider building where Medicaid people live? Well, the truth is, Medicaid people are your neighbors. Medicaid people live in nice houses too. And so to be told that we don't belong in that neighborhood or this community is truly something out of the dark ages. I would not have expected it. I should have. I'm used to it. But I'm hoping that this body can rise above it, can help us see the vision, can help us see what's possible for that building. We're going to use it as a community resources. Our plan is to keep the ball diamonds, to keep the basketball courts, to make it a community resource, to keep the playground for the neighbors. We don't intend on doing anything with that. You have a choice to make today. Your choice is you got to make a decision about whether you're going to allow someone to occupy that building, because if it's not me or Voices for Independence, it'll be somebody else someday. You've got to make a decision about whether you're going to allow somebody to occupy that building or whether you're going to let it fall into disrepair, let homeless people occupy it, and let the neighborhood be destroyed by people that don't really care. I care about that community. I care about my neighborhood, and we're going to invest in it. Please let us do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eakin. Is there anyone else to speak on behalf of this application? Mr. Rhodes?
Good morning. David Rhodes, 150 East 8th Street. I'm counsel for Voices in this matter.
Yes.
Just wanted to touch on a couple of maybe more technical issues that were raised before the Planning Commission. There were some concerns raised regarding a possible spot zoning issue. Were this to be changed to the C1? I think it's obvious if you look at the map, if you look at the surrounding area here, and you look at this particular parcel, we're dealing with a pretty unique parcel. You know, spot zoning is something we get concerned about when we're taking a property that's just like all its neighbors and we're singling it out and treating it differently for no valid purpose. Again, this is a 5.5 acre piece of property in the middle of this residential neighborhood. It's not like any of its neighbors. It contains this large commercial structure. There was testimony before the Planning Commission that it's not suitable for residential purposes. You know, we've got a choice to make here really to allow this property to sit vacant. The school district made it clear before the Planning Commission that we're down to a point where it's either a sale, rezoning and a sale to Voices, or it's a property that's going to sit vacant for the foreseeable future. So we think because of the unique character of the property that we don't have spot zoning concerns, that it would be appropriate to rezone the parcel. And we do have commercial properties in the very near vicinity. We're as close as 50 feet away on the southwest corner from a commercial district. And we're proposing a C1 that's a little less intrusive than the nearby C2. So we think that that's a reasonable, it's a good compromise to put this property to a beneficial use, and we'd encourage the board to consider that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Anyone else to speak on behalf of this application? Okay. Is there anybody here to speak in opposition to the application? Okay, I see that we have a couple people. We'd like to keep the testimony to what's going, you know, the application before us. And if there's somebody that could be like a spokesman, and then if there's somebody afterwards that maybe want to say some things that were not mentioned. So I don't know how you want to work that out, you know, whatever you want to do, but we'll take testimony from the, yeah. Okay. If you would, when you get up here, sign your names and your address, and then state your name and address for the record.
Good morning. My name is Tim Nagel, 5208 Wolf Run Drive. And I am the president of the Wolf Run Homeowners Association.
Okay.
First, I do have a list of names of residents in that community that I'm here to also represent. I'll leave these here if you are interested, but there's 34 names on the list, 20 properties. It is the majority of the Wolf Run Homeowners Association that do oppose the zoning change. And just to go on the record, it has nothing to do with Voices of Independence. This is it has to do with the change to a commercial zoning change. It is irrelevant to what is going on, in our opinion. A couple of things just to address real quick. I know we went over this quite a bit in the last meeting, but to correct Mr. Rhodes, there is not a commercial property 50 foot away. There is a residential lot between the request and that commercial property. So we're talking hundreds of feet. It is spot zoning. It is completely covered and surrounded by residential property. The property itself is not unique. The building on it is. I will give them that. But the property itself is not unique. That's why Millcreek, in their tract, laid it out with residential lots. It's a residential piece of property that has a school building on it. During the last meeting, there was testimony from the school district that it would cost roughly $200,000 to tear down the building. In 3.5 years, he also told us it was $36,000 per year in utilities. So we're talking $126,000 already they spent to heat and to keep the electric on. It could have went to tearing it down, returning to residential properties like it was fully intended to when Millcreek laid out the subdivision tract. Not to mention the 5.5 acres of prime Millcreek real estate for residential lots. In our subdivision, a half-acre lot, the taxes for real estate and schools over $6,000. So you're looking at $33,000 in revenue at least a year, plus the value of the property, and it returns it to what Millcreek has always intended it to be, a residential area. The biggest concern the neighbors have in Wolf Run subdivision and in the condo associations is traffic. Per Miss Eakin, currently there's 120 people coming and going a day. She expects a minimum of 30% growth. So we're talking about over 150 people coming and going, 8 to 10 buses a day. And the difference between that and a school, it's year round. During the summer, when our kids are out playing and running around, the people are sitting on their decks, there is no traffic when it was a school. So it should not be considered and compared to a school property and a school traffic pattern. I think that's the majority of what we had. So again, our opposition is to any change to any type of commercial property. It should be zoned as an R1 and should remain as an R1.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else to speak in opposition to this? No one else? You want to, please come back up there, Ms. Egan.
If I may correct some information that was just given in that last testimony, I apologize. We have 50 office employees. They would be coming and going on a daily basis. Some of them don't drive. There would be Lyft transportation to and from the building. Also, I believe they said 120, but I want to assure you that in a 2-week period, before the Planning Commission, I gave some numbers. In a 2-week period, we didn't have even half the amount that he just mentioned about bus traffic. We have 2 Lyft buses a morning, maybe 4 Lyft buses in the afternoon. And those Lyft buses can sometimes have between 3 and 5 people on them each. But the numbers that he gave were not correct. And I want to assure you that, yes, there will be programming all year round. Yes, I did say in the Planning Commission meeting that we have 600 attendants, and on a quarterly basis, we would have trainings morning and evening, but our evening activity would be minimal. Our business hours are between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. So when everyone who lives in that area is coming home, we would be gone predominantly. So I just want to assure you that those numbers given were not exactly correct.
Okay. Any other testimony from anybody? Brian, do you have any questions?
No questions. I have a few comments. Mr. Grove showed a great deal of, or granted a great deal of latitude here in permitting the testimony that was given by voices. Typically, as was a good example with the Renaud Peck rezoning just a few moments ago, a rezoning application, the testimony for a rezoning application would center around what it's currently zoned and what the requested rezoning district would be, and then what would be permitted in that new district. In this case, we heard testimony as to what the proposed use would be. Really, the Board of Supervisors shouldn't be at all concerned with what the planned use is going to be. What we need to be and what we must be concerned with is what is permitted in that zoning district. And I'm sure you heard this at the Planning Commission meeting, but for those who weren't there, in C1 local commercial district, things like there are 19 different uses. Examples would be a veterinary clinic, an animal hospital, professional office space, banks, financial institution, credit union, a daycare center, a funeral home, medical facilities. There are several things that are permitted in C1 that would likely create more of an impact into that neighborhood than what voices is saying they would, the impact that they would have on that neighborhood. I would much prefer a owner of a property make an application for a rezoning rather than a proposed buyer of a property, so that we don't get into the, geez, this is what we're going to do once we buy the property. It is, this is what could go in there if the property is rezoned. This is a very, I shouldn't say that. In the past, this had been a pretty unique situation in the closing of schools. Unfortunately, we're running into more of that more recently. In recent memory, Millcreek School District has closed the Bell Valley School on Route 8. They closed Montclair, as I'm sure you're aware, on Saratania Road. Those two are both state highways. And Lakewood. Lakewood was demolished and it's now a park. So as far as schools being reused in residential neighborhoods, we haven't really run into that much. And it's
Richfield too.
that hasn't come to us yet. So that hasn't been rezoned and it hasn't come to us. Our solicitor mentioned Richfield School. That's also been closed, but we haven't made a decision on that yet. I'm talking about the ones that have already, things have already happened.
Right.
So the two on state highways, yes, they were similar in that they were formerly public schools, but completely different in that they are on state highways, not in a very small residential neighborhood. Lakewood would be a better comparison, but again, Lakewood was not rezoned. That was demolished and used for a park. Perhaps, as the Planning Commission stated at their hearing, that the supervisor should be looking at another type of zoning district, one that would address reuse of public schools. But as of right now, what's before us right now, we don't have that additional latitude. We have permitted uses. And the permitted uses list 19 different things, and some of those I think would be disruptive to the neighborhood where Vernondale is located. One more quick comment. We heard that there are rumors about why the Planning Commission recommended denial. I can't speak for the Planning Commission. I wasn't at the meeting. But I would be shocked if the Planning Commission even took any type of a lawsuit into account in making their recommendation. It's a very good group of individuals who takes their job very seriously, and granted that was stated as just a rumor. Rumors like that shouldn't even be repeated, because I think that was ridiculous to even bring that up at this meeting. That there was a letter from a supervisor. I had heard that rumor previously too, and I said, boy, if there's a letter out there, I'd like to see a copy of it. That was a month or so ago. I haven't seen a copy of any kind of a letter. And then that there's prejudice among the neighbors against handicapped persons. Again, I think that that's ridiculous. I don't think that anyone in that neighborhood has I can't speak for anyone down there, but I can't imagine that anyone would have prejudice against having handicapped persons utilizing their neighborhood. I think that they are more concerned, and understandably so, with, where I started my comments, with what could go in. Maybe they don't want to see a funeral home in that neighborhood, or an emergency medical facility. The likelihood is slim, but it's still permissible by what our current zoning ordinance allows. So they have concerns with what could go, not what is currently being proposed. And I think that that's where we, the Board of Supervisors, have to make our decision with what our current ordinances permit, and not with what is being proposed by a possible purchaser of the property. That's it.
Mr. Vigasky, you're on the line still? Yeah, do you have any questions?
As far as Voices for Independence, they're a wonderful organization. I don't think anybody would dispute that. And they are in need of a new home, which we understand. And I think what we have to look at here, to kind of piggyback on what Brian said, we have to look at not what's going in there, but what potentially could go in there and how that's going to impact that community in the area. I know Voices has said that it's their intent to stay in that location in perpetuity, and that's good. But there is always the uncertainty of the future of what might happen to Voices. Should they go away, we now have a piece of commercial property right in the middle of a residential district. And as Brian said, we have to look at what our zoning laws and ordinances say at this time. He had indicated there's 19 different uses that could go in there. Also, what concerns me is the fact that once we let the genie out of the bottle on a commercial piece of property in a residential area, what happens to the property surrounding Verndale School? Does that become a target for more commercial development in a residential area? I just think that at this time, as Brian said, we need to follow the #1 recommendations of our zoning board and also the laws that we have on zoning and development. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vigasky. I have a question for Ms. Maggio. Actually, Mr. Rhodes mentioned something about a property that's zoned commercial there. The map that I have is just a parcel map, it's not a zoning map. Can you tell me what property that would be that is referred to as a commercial zone? Do you know, is that true? Is that correct? That,
Along Westlake Road and Garlock, those are zoned commercial.
right, up on,
Yes.
on Westlake Road?
Correct.
Okay, but there's nothing on Middle Drive or Windward or Garlock or Wilkins that would be a commercial zoning district?
And I don't mean to speak for you, but I think that you're referring to the property at the, what would be the northwest corner of Garlock and Westlake Road? Because that's kind of like kitty corner from the corner of the Vernondale property?
Yeah, the property I was referring to was at the intersection of Middle and Garlock.
Right.
I believe that's C2 right up to that.
Okay.
Right up the middle.
That's the M Cafe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, M Cafe, okay, yeah, yeah. I'll just give you a brief historical perspective. I grew up in the area. I went to Vernondale School. I was able to walk there. This is what you would call the traditional neighborhood school. It is unfortunately vacant now, and that saddened me when that happened, because a lot of good memories from there. But moving on, the school district had to do what it had to do. I do have a couple comments here. First of all, as far as rumors, rumors are what they are, and that's rumors. I think I could go to any McDonald's and hear rumors that are just outrageous, that I'd say, where'd you hear that? And, of course, dispel those rumors as soon as possible. I will take exception to the fact that possible denial of this is a retaliation. No, it's not a retaliation for the litigation that we're involved in right now. And I do have a personal comment here regarding a prejudice. Now, yes, in my career as a zoning official, I've run into prejudice. I've heard people say awful things about people with disabilities, people of mental limitations. I've heard of that, even racial things too. It's awful to hear that people would talk that way. But I want you to know something here myself, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm a member of the Pennsylvania Accessibility Advisory Board. I've been on it since 2002. We're a group that hears appeals regarding building code matters in regards to the accessibility requirements. The state felt that important that it be held at a state level and not at a local level when it comes to those appeals. But finally, a personal comment. My late father, unfortunately, and I don't want to bring him up because it's a very emotional topic, he spent his last 3 years in a motorized wheelchair because of a stroke. I understand what you folks go through. Believe me, I understand. I took care of him for a little bit. My sister took care of him for the most. Yeah, there are problems, challenges that you face. We try to do the best we can. I have all the respect in the world what Voices does. I know that. It's an advocacy group for the disabled. And this has nothing to do with Voices. It has to do with rezoning this property to one of the 19 categories allowed in that C1 zoning district. So I just want to give you my comments on that, and that's all I can say on that there. So with any other final comments there from you, Brian or Rick? Okay. I'll call for a motion on this matter.
I'm going to move denial of the request for rezoning.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Fagaski?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. That is to deny the request for rezoning. Thank you, folks. Moving on. Next agenda item is number 8, referral to the Planning Commission of a petition requesting a change in zoning classification for Millcreek Community Hospital, or MCH Corporation, for a property bounded by the west side of Peach Street, the south side of Bryant, east side of Richmond, and the north side of Dudley Street, also known as 5202 Peach Street. Now zone C1 commercial, C2 general commercial, and R1 single family district, asking for a change in classification to C1 local commercial district.
I'll move that this be referred to the Planning Commission.
Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And Mr. Fagaski?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes. Okay, that will be referred to the January meeting of the Planning Commission. Number 9, adoption of the 2016 general fund budget. We'll turn it over to Mark.
Thank you. The budget has been published since November 24th, and we bring to today the final proposed budget. There have been no substantive changes to the budget. Okay. There have been a few minor changes, one of which is the projected balance for the end of the year. It still remains to be positive, but that's a moving target as we continue to go through the year. 2 items that we did do is that we moved 2 budgeted capital items from the 2016 budget to purchases in the 2015 projection, and that was for software for the police department and the vehicle for a SWAT team.
Okay. Okay. Anything, Brian, you want to add to that there? Or?
No, we still show we have a balanced budget with a projected surplus of almost $5.5 million for the end of 2016, which is a good thing.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Fagaski, any comments from you?
No, okay. I looked over the budget and I didn't see any substantial changes, as Mark said, which is good. And I believe, as Brian said, this is a good budget, and it comes up with a very healthy surplus, which is always good.
Okay. Okay, then. And I have nothing to add. We get public comment on this? Okay.
We're good.
Okay, we're good on that then. Okay, I'll call for a motion to adopt the 2016 general fund budget.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second. I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Fagaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Okay, next item agenda, number 10, Resolution 2015 R26, a resolution by the Board of Supervisors fixing the township tax rate for the year 2016. Let's see here. Briefly, it sets the tax rate for general purposes, the sum of tax of each dollar assessed valuation, and the sum on each $100 of assessed value at 3.3977 mils. And then also the tax rate for maintaining a revolving fund for the use in creating capital improvements before collection of all or part of the cost from property owners, the sum tax of each dollar of assessed valuation on the sum of $100 of assessed valuation, 0.1560 mils. Therefore, it brings a total of 3.5537 mils. What that equates to, for those of you out there, we did the quick math already. For every $100,000 of assessed value of your property, the tax is $355.37. Want to get exact. So that's where we're at on that there. I call for a motion to approve that tax resolution.
I'll move approval of Resolution 2015 R26.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. The next item, agenda number 11, Resolution 2015 R27, a resolution approving and authorizing certain financial grants, that is, within the 2016 township budget. The three grants that are mentioned in this are the Regional Asset Fund at $2,000, the Erie Metropolitan Transit Authority for the lift, $20,000, and the Senior Citizen Health Care at $20,000. Any comments from you, Brian, or Rick? No comments? Okay.
I'll move approval of Resolution 2015 R27.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
And Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item, number 12, Resolution 2015 R28, a resolution to authorize and delete signature authority with respect to deposit accounts and other documents held by and issued by the township. This would be effective January 4th, 2016. This would be when Mr. Morgan takes office. So the resolution, this authorizes signatures for all the financial accounts, deposit accounts, and other documents held by the township. So, any comments?
I'll move approval of Resolution 2015 R28.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Next item, number 13, Resolution 2015 R29, a resolution to declare Steeler Tidmore Partnership, the developer of Glen Meadows subdivision sections 1 through 3, in default of obligation to complete construction of required improvements and to exercise rights against the financial security tendered by the developer to secure such completion of improvements. Mr. Adair, can you comment on this?
The township for quite some time has been holding financial security to complete improvements in sections 1 through 3 of Glen Meadows subdivision. The developer, Sunprop, has not really done anything to finish them, and when we approved a consolidation of the security for the 3 sections and a form of financial security in a restricted account held at what was then National City Bank and now is PNC Bank, it was our understanding that the fixes would be done, and that includes Pond A at Glen Meadows. They have not been done. The developers show no inclination to do them, so this resolution would declare a default and authorize the exercise of authority to secure the funds so that the township can use them as needed to effect the improvements.
Okay. Other questions? I hear motion?
I'll move approval of Resolution 2015 R29.
Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 14, the adoption of a 2016 sewer revenue fund budget. Do you have any comments on that? We get Dave up here, or?
I think the revenue.
Probably the only comment is that the rate increase, there is no rate increase for the sewer customers.
Okay.
For the 2016 year. They're still showing a positive fund balance, even at that rate, so at this time, there's no rate increase necessary.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
I will move approval of the 2016 sewer revenue fund budget.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 15, the adoption of, announcements of bids and quotations received. This is in regards to the demolition of 1330 Kuntz Road. It's a property the township acquired and is in the phase of getting rid of the structure on it. It was burnt down a couple weeks ago. Now this is what's remaining of it. We received bids from 2 contractors, although we had contacted 3. Leslie Trucking, we got a quoted price of $19,475. And also, we received a bid from, or a quote that is, from Rohrer Trucking out of Mill Village at a cost of $6,500. It is my request or motion that we accept the bid of Rohrer Trucking at $6,500 for demolition.
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, then. Okay, excuse me just a second there. Okay. Mr. Figaski, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, number 16, indemnification agreement. We have Mr. Mark Shaw representing the township in this matter. Would you like to give us a brief explanation of what this is about?
What's being presented to you for approval is an indemnity agreement and mutual release. A little bit of background: this matter relates to the various, a portion of the various lawsuits filed by the Angela Crest Trust relating to stormwater up on the Heidler Road area. As you recall, the trust had filed suit against the township some time ago, seeking damages and equitable relief, asking for an injunction essentially to stop water crossing the trust property, stormwater from crossing the trust property. In addition, the trust had filed suit against the township engineer that they had used to do a stormwater project, Hill Engineering, who had then proceeded to join several developers in that area whose developments enter into that system. They also seek damages from those parties. In the litigation, the property damages that the trust sought in both cases were essentially the same. At one point, the defendants in the Hill action sought to join the township as a defendant in that case. The court denied that attempt, but obviously it was obvious to us that those defendants were going to make claims against the township at some point, seeking to get reimbursed for any monies that they would have had to pay as a result of their lawsuit. Thereafter, at some point, the trust and the Hill parties began settlement negotiations. They ultimately agreed to an amount to be paid in settlements, but they were stuck on one term that was included in the settlement documents relating to future equitable relief. At that point, the township, seeing the benefit of that portion of the actions getting resolved, stepped forward and sought to try to find a way to help resolve that case because it would benefit the township in moving forward with the litigation that's been going on between it and the trust. As a result of those negotiations, the parties have come to, at least the counsel for the parties have come to an agreement that they're recommending to their clients, which is the agreement that is before you. And at this point, I would say that all the other parties to that agreement have approved the execution of that agreement, subject to the township approving it.
Okay.
In terms of the actual terms of the agreement, under that agreement, the township would be agreeing to indemnify these parties for any equitable claims raised by either the trust or Ms. Hurt in certain limited circumstances relating to the discharge of stormwater. We viewed that as essentially a situation where the township in any such action would be a party anyway, and we didn't view us as actually assuming any real responsibilities or liabilities by agreeing to do that, because it would help the resolution of that Hill case. Parties that also would be exchanging mutual releases, meaning that they wouldn't be making any claims against each other for damages. So none of, Hill Engineering, for example, or any of the developers are releasing any claims they would have against us as a result of the action that the trust brought, and vice versa. The township is paying no money as a part of this settlement. No parties are admitting to any liabilities, and the agreement clearly preserves Millcreek's rights that it has in the security that was referenced earlier with respect to the Glen Meadows subdivision. So that ensuring that, with respect to that issue, this agreement does not impact our ability to exercise the rights that we're exercising. So based on that, it's my recommendation that the supervisors approve this indemnification and mutual release, as I believe it is in the best interest of the township. As you know, there have been discussions ongoing with the trust regarding looking for ways to try to resolve these issues short of the litigation, and it's my belief that resolution of this aspect of the case would assist in helping moving that forward.
Okay. Okay, any questions, Mr. McGrath?
No.
Okay. Mr. Figaski, any questions for Mr. Shaw?
No.
Okay, I have none myself. I would guess this is light at the end of the tunnel that we're seeing?
Hopefully. It's a glimmer.
Okay, okay, we'll leave it at that then. Okay, and of course you want us to act on this here, so I'll need to hear a motion.
I would move approval of the indemnification and mutual release agreement.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Figaski, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. And if you want to stay up there, I think we have something else there, next item on the agenda. Number 17, United Spinal Association request to increase but not to exceed. Regarding an invoice?
Yes, we received their final invoice for work that they were performing for us relating to the litigation with Voices for Independence. They had a not to exceed price of $20,000. Their final invoice comes in $915.41 above that. There was some additional work beyond the original contemplated scope that they did perform, and as a result, I would recommend that the township approve increasing the amount by the amount that their invoice exceeded the not to exceed price.
Okay. Okay, any questions from you, Brian?
I'll move approval.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Figaski? Mr. Figaski, how do you vote? You there? Hello? Uh-oh.
Almost made it.
Almost. Are you there? Hope his phone didn't go dead or lose his signal. He said he had a full charge on it. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, leaving it that way, I will take a second on that there. And we'll have to have a roll call vote. I'll go through him in there again. Mr. Figaski, how do you vote? We don't get a vote out of that there, okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay.
John, you still there?
Yeah, we're here. Did you hear us? Did you hear that? Rick?
John?
Yes. Are you there?
Okay, you still there?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, I had a motion and I seconded it. Was there a vote yet?
Yes, well, yeah, we didn't hear you there, so we voted,
Okay.
how do you vote on
Yes.
it? You vote yes?
I vote
Okay.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Stay on the line there. Okay.
We're almost done, Rick. Hang on.
Almost. We're almost to the bottom of the second page. Let's see here. We had this, we're going to have Evan. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Amendment to agreement for collection services. There's a slight amendment to an agreement we have with Creditech, which is our collection agency for services for any past due bills or anything. Mark, do you have any comment on that? I know Evan, we had thought Evan would be able to do that, but he had to leave.
It's mostly just renewing the contract for next year, and the changes on the termination clause, giving 90 days notice. So it's mostly for just renewing the contract for next year.
Okay.
All right, I'll move approval of the agreement with Creditech.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Figaski, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, item number 19, approval of change order number 1 to the codification services agreement with general code. We were going to have Evan do this. I think I'll take a swipe at it here. There was some additional legislation that had to be added to this codification that we had a quote from them or a contract. Let's see here, there was, the additional was, so it would be $3,558 in additional cost for that, and then the remainder of the 2012 contract, which is due. So there brings a total to complete the project of $8,467.50. And I'll put that in the form of a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. And let's see, moving on, item 20, financial security requests. Mr. Morris.
The first we have is for the Erie Runway 624 extension by the Erie Regional Airport Authority. The financial security is in the amount of $368,905.90. It's held by Erie Bank check number 4520. We're recommending release of the entire amount since everything has been satisfactorily completed. It's been a long road, but it's been checked and rechecked, and we're confident that everything has been completed satisfactorily.
Okay.
That includes the improvements to 12th and Marshall?
Correct.
So everything is satisfactorily complete?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
I know we still have some more work to,
Yeah.
the township has to put the top on next year.
Yes.
We need to put a top on.
All right.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I motion to approve.
Okay. Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next one is Sheets. Mr. Morris?
Sheets amount of financial security withheld is $309,735 by Wells Fargo Bank, NA number IS 0100945U. And that has been satisfactorily completed, so we're recommending release of the entire amount also.
Okay. Okay. Do I hear
I'll move approval.
and a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Figaski, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next one is Whispering Woods, number 7A, I'm sorry, special properties.
Right. This is, the financial security is held by Northwest Savings, number 8305003397, the amount of $31,368. This was specifically for the turnaround, and for whatever reason, it was not included in the original letter of credit for that entire phase. So we're recommending release of the turnaround since it has been completed in the amount of $31,368.
Okay. Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll move approval.
And a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And let's see here, the last one here, the Humane Society of Northwest Pennsylvania. Mr. Morris again.
Present amount of security withheld is $58,294 by First National Bank, cashier's check number 21017056.
Well, we're here. Yeah, I'm sorry. You there? Rick, are you there? Hello? Gotta open up. Yes, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
Yes.
Somehow you're going in and out there, I'm sorry. Okay.
So we're still withholding $58,294.
Okay.
Now, this development is impacted by the construction work that is planned for the Route 99 Interchange Road and Zimmerly Road PennDOT project. So we're recommending that we don't release it all, but we hold $6,000 to ensure sidewalk completion in conjunction with the PennDOT project that is scheduled to be started next year or 2017.
Okay.
Would this be, Rick, in the form of a sidewalk agreement then, so that they can get rid of that actual letter of credit?
It could be. But at this point, we don't have that. We only have
I think
a
that should
check.
be suggested to them. It's, from what we understand, much less expensive if they do it that way.
True if it's a letter of credit, but this is cash. We have a check.
Oh, it's currently
Yes.
cash? Oh, okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, then, do I hear a motion?
I'll move approval, reduction to $6,000.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second the reduction to $6,000.
Okay. Mr. Fregaski, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 21, financial security reduction request by Waldemere Park and Water World. Again, Mr. Morris.
Present amount of security withheld is $523,083.47 by PNC Bank, NA number 1812-2445-20-30. We're recommending a reduction of $32,780 to $490,303.47. There are a number of items that need to be completed. The item that we feel has been satisfactorily completed is the concrete sidewalk. But they have a lot of storm sewer catch basins and some other things that are associated with their stormwater management plan.
Okay.
Those are currently being checked by Hill Engineering.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'll move that the security be reduced to $490,303.47.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second the reduction.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Fregaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Let's see here. Item number 22, pension plan contributions for 2016. Mark, do you want to take that?
Sure. Under Act 205, the municipality is required to make annual minimum contributions to the pension plans for the uniformed the police officers and the non-uniformed township employees. For 2016, the minimum contribution to the police pension plan is $1,361,906. And the minimum contribution to the non-uniformed employees is $1,156,607.
Okay. Okay, then. Okay. That's about it. We have to approve that, too.
I'll move approval of the two MMOs.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. And Mr. Fregaski, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes, too. Okay. Okay. Communications. Mark, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. Brian?
Yeah, I'll handle a few of these.
Okay.
First one is the HVAC cleaning proposal from Jerry Berger. He received a quote from Prescal Power Clean for a total, let me find it here, bottom, got it, $1,675, and Jerry recommends that they do that work as soon as possible, and I'll move approval of that.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Fregaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next one.
Also from Jerry Berger, the annual service agreement for our emergency generator. There are several quotes, including straight time, double time, mileage, but the package, the total for the year is $1,096, and that would be for a 3-year, that's an annual cost for a 3-year contract, and I would move approval of that agreement.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Fregaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
As long as I'm
Okay. Yeah,
on
go
board,
ahead.
I'll just keep
Yeah,
going with
keep
the things
rolling.
that I had.
Keep rolling.
From Mark Wells in the sewer department, he would like permission to bring back Max Knight and Rich Chury to work in the sewer department over the Christmas holiday at their current, summer rate, and I'll move approval of that.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Also from the sewer department, from Gary Snyder, would like permission to send John Bloss and Dan Olet to Evans City to EnviroSite. This is for software updates and general inspection of the remote camera system. And I'll move approval of that.
Okay. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Figaski, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes.
From Ashley Marsteller, our Director of Parks and Recreation, would like to hire Katie Howland as a water safety instructor, Kylie Howland as a water safety instructor at $9.50 per hour, Annie DeFrank as a lifeguard at $7.65, and Olivia Mink as a water safety instructor at $9.50 per hour, and I'll move approval of those.
Okay, will I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay.
That's it.
That's what you have there, okay. Let's see, I got a couple things here. First one, I have a resignation letter addressed to the board. This comes from John Morgan, resigning from the Millcreek Township Planning Commission for obvious reasons. He'll be taking office in January, so we'd like to thank him for his service on the Planning Commission and welcome him when he starts here in January. Okay, next one is I have, sad to say we have a resignation from the Property Maintenance Code, Fire Code Board of Appeals from Gary Bear. He tenders his resignation from that appeals board. And I know there wasn't too much activity going before the board. Is that correct, Gary? Absolutely. Okay, but we do appreciate your service on that board, and thank you, and we will keep you in mind for other ones, too. Okay?
Oh, by the way, there just happens to be an opening on the planning commission.
Interested? Okay. Let's see. I have, this is from the police department, from Chief Mike DeSore. I respectfully request the following to be approved by the Township Supervisors, public meeting December 22nd. Number one, permission for Lieutenant Michael Dugan, Michael Kabasinski, and Lieutenant Mike Little, Lieutenant Christopher Lucas, and Lieutenant Tim Beveridge, and Lieutenant Scott Subulak to attend the Fred Pryor Seminar titled Basic Supervision, to be held in Erie, PA, February 22nd. This one-day class focuses on delegating, motivating, disciplining, training, and organizing subordinate personnel in the workplace. Registration is $149 per person, totaling $894, and no other costs are incurred on that. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Figaski, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number two, permission for Sergeant Timothy Fallon and Corporal Christopher Hauber to attend the Open Source Intelligence Practitioner Seminar at the Pennsylvania State Police Department headquarters in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on February 2nd and 3rd. This course focuses on the ability to access information on the internet, monitoring social media platforms, geographic information systems, and open source research. There is no cost, no registration, but the hotel, meal and fuels and travel time will be approximately $700. I put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Figaski?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And let's see here. Okay, I'll go right into number 24, which is the building.
One from Chris Wilson.
Oh, I'm sorry. I walked right by that. I'm sorry. I had to move back up on the agenda a little bit there. We have this from Chris Filson, and this involves the purchase for the MPD for New World software. The cost for that, I think. Chris, do you have anything you want to comment about that? Would you like to come up and talk? Give just a quick explanation on that.
Good morning.
Yep. Chris Wilson, right?
Chris Wilson, IT
right.
Manager, Millcreek Township. The proposal was for modules to be added to the software we currently use and are upgrading to for the police department. They include the ability to page out groups based on need, such as SWAT calls, directly from CAD. The second module will be the ability to access NCIC or clean information, running license plates and driver's licenses directly through CAD rather than through a separate system, which we currently do.
Okay.
It would also have the ability to do detailed reporting from our records management. And then the last one is case management, which allows us to manage cases as far as like signing cases and getting notifications when officers complete reports rather than having to look manually, that they automatically get the information in. We're also exchanging back in the index cards module, which we no longer use.
Okay. And that's at a cost of $73,583.
Correct.
Okay. And that's at a reduced price because they're having...
Right. The original budgetary cost was $93,000, assuming we were going to sign in 2016. Due to sales quotas, they would like to do that this year. Okay. And they do that at a reduced cost.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the explanation. I appreciate it. Okay, do I call for a motion on that there?
I'll move approval.
Do I hear a second on that? Rick, you still with us? Rick? Okay, I'll make the second on that there. Okay, Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. And let's see here. I'll go back to number 24 here. One other thing here. I'm sorry, I had to just put a little note on there. I want to thank all the public and employees here at the township and other township or other employees within this building working for MPS and for Berkheimers that took names off the Christmas tree out there, the giving tree. Once again, every name was taken off there, every envelope, and we do appreciate that. And a big hats off to Londa Cirillo from the Parks Department, who orchestrated all of this and handled all that, and and all the ladies there that down on the first floor that worked on the tree and everything. So big thanks for that. In regards to the building construction report, it's meager right now. As you know, it's seasonal. Under total residential structures, we had a construction value of $164,000. Under non-residential, $134,000. So it brings it to $299,000 here for the month of November. It's seasonal, as we know. Okay, Cheryl, do you have anything? Nothing? Okay, citizens to be heard. Any citizens to be heard? Sorry, it's a long meeting here today. Hopefully it didn't put you to sleep, but okay. Do we have, is there somebody there? Okay. Okay, call for an adjournment at 10:52.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
See you after New Year.
I second it, and Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Go enjoy the sun.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.